This is my goofy brother.
That's me, 12-year-old Mike Lobel.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'll be your host for the evening.
And this is my family.
Say hi, Mom.
This is Mommy Susie speaking.
On the surface, we just appeared to be a normal family, and we were. And we are. I took you to school, did the groceries. We had birthday parties for you.
My little brother, sister, and I grew up in Parkdale, in the heart of Toronto. My little sister, Melanie, was fearless.
I wanted to do the things that you were doing, and I wanted to do them better.
Oh, wow, it comes out now for the first time.
My brother, Elliot, was shy.
Say hi. Hi. Wait.
He was always really taking everything in.
I think I was a pretty goofy kid. A good kid. Definitely not rebellious.
I was the rebellious one.
Say Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I had big feelings and a lot of energy.
You were 8 when you somersaulted off the bookcase. You ended up in the hospital.
I was a handful, but my mom wouldn't admit it.
Those were beautiful times. It was bliss.
Yeah, it sounds very normal and nice.
It was all about taking care of the kids for me, and Dad was responsible for, you know.
There would be times that he was gone and absent. I couldn't understand where he was.
I didn't really have a very good idea what my dad did.
And when people asked, what did you say?
Well, that he was a taxi driver.
Insurance was one of them.
He was in the antique business and went on the road.
The stock market.
Gambling. Actually, I don't even know if any of that's true.
Is it true Dad worked for a travel magazine?
No.
Dad had a drawer of, like, phones.
We'd be having family dinner. A random cell phone would go off. Some new ringtone. Any point, like, I looked over, like, you were kind of just like, head down, whatever, don't acknowledge anything. And Dad wouldn't flinch. Like, he wouldn't move. We were not allowed to be going upstairs. There was Post-it on the staircase, and I would get the response, don't come up, don't come up.
We all lived under the same roof, but we couldn't tell you a lot about him. He just seemed different than other dads, in ways we didn't understand, and still don't. See, that's the thing. None of us really know who Dad is. It's taken me a long time to decide I want to have children.
You ready?
Yeah.
I'm afraid of messing them up.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay, that one's fast.
What kind of father will I be?
I love doing this.
When I was 14, I learned that cameras don't just record reality.
Get out of here, Elliot.
They can change it. With this accidental cut right here,
Elliot.
I was hooked. I did what any angsty kid might do. I started making my own movies.
In the movie, I'm gonna be wearing those shoes. So it's carefully planned out.
You gotta bring a knife and ketchup.
My brother and sister were my first film crew.
Get it. Ready? Yeah. Action. Ooh, the cat.
I kept trying to will my toys to life by filming them. Little worlds I could disappear into. Then eventually, I disappeared into characters. When I was 16, I landed an agent, and I got to play Jay Hogarth for 7 seasons on Degrassi: The Next Generation. A Canadian success. It was amazing. I was doing what I loved to do, telling stories. But there was one story I always felt I couldn't tell. My own. To tell it, I need my family's help. I'm not sure I'll get it.
Hey,
How's it going, man?
good, what's up?
Not much, just digitizing some of our old stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. I guess my question is, would you be willing to sit down on camera if I come to Montreal to talk about it?
I don't want anything to do with it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm gonna be running for office.
Seriously, though.
Yeah, I mean, sure, why not? You can interview me.
Would you and your husband be cool to talk?
Yeah, he can't be associated with it at all.
And that goes for the whole family?
Yes, no, you cannot use my children's faces on it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a hard no.
Got it. So just you then?
Just me.
Okay.
I think I need to do this as something that Dad and I shared for many years, and only us.
That just leaves my dad. Rolling on A, rolling on B. My siblings and I have never really talked about our dad's secret. What do you think we're here to talk about today?
We're here to talk about my dad.
How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel nervous talking about this.
I don't expect them to open up right away. I didn't tell my wife Mika about the secret until just before we were married. I was 38 years old.
I don't know when that started, that feeling of like, trying to be careful.
We all have our reasons. When I was 10, I asked my dad what he did for a living, for a Take Your Kid to Work Day school project. He yelled at me. I never dared ask again.
Now you can go run.
But I could tell something was up.
I knew you were going through the same thing that I was going through. At that moment, we kind of made it a quest that we were going to figure out what our dad did. I started to recognize mail that would have a different name. I thought that he was different people.
The upstairs, it was not quite finished.
Mom and Dad's ensuite bathroom that never got done.
Remember the jacuzzi?
There was a roughed-in bathtub.
It had like this wood on top of it, covering it. I don't think I looked under that.
I knew it was something that we shouldn't know about. I never really wanted to snoop so hard, but I felt like I have to just look, and I go to lift it up. I don't know what I saw.
As a kid, you kind of absorb this energy of your surroundings.
We weren't just absorbing energy. There was a long list of instructions we had to follow. No questions asked.
I'm serious, don't forget, the safety things are most important, okay? Leave the outdoor lights on, put the alarm on, keep the blinds down.
We had an alarm system, and that alarm system had to be kept on all the time. Not just at night, all day.
It felt like he was going a little bit overboard with details. Could I have asked what he does?
There was a lot of times that we tried and we got shut down. Dad could at times be verbally volatile.
There's like always that thought of like, what if he directs his anger at me?
When he was like that, he could yell and slam doors or leave the house in a rage.
I feel like we were just so programmed, don't acknowledge what is happening. Yeah, our friends all knew what their parents did for work, but we had no clue. And it made me feel very uncomfortable. I made something up, which was the first time that I lied to protect myself and my family.
We were taught to keep our heads down and our mouths shut, but I just couldn't do it. There I was on a hit TV show, drawing attention to myself. standing in the biggest possible spotlight. But I was always afraid of who might be watching.
I had reoccurring nightmares. Mine were about being taken for ransom. I don't know who would be taking me.
For me, the nightmare started when I was 10. I had the same one for 25 years. I'm a kid, and the front door of my house is being kicked in. All kids have nightmares. They see things that aren't really there. But this wasn't our imagination. It was real. I found this tape in my parents' basement.
Just read the title for me.
Oh my God. Okay.
What does it say?
This is Melanie Cassandra Lobel.
Give to police if either are abducted.
This is Michael Ryan Lobel. No birthmarks or scars.
Seeing my sister like this hits me hard. My parents thought lying was the best way to protect us. My mom doesn't feel that way anymore.
You've lived in the shadows for so long, I can't do it anymore. I can't go to my deathbed with this shadow hanging over me.
I secretly record my parents' conversation.
I understand that. I understand that.
And it's killed me. So I want to be free of it.
My dad finally agrees to an interview, but on one condition. The footage stays in his safe until after he's dead.
Lights?
So if you were to honestly say what the title of your job was,
What would you say? I was What's the term for that? What's the term for that?
Drug dealer?
My dad was a drug dealer.
If this doesn't put me in jail, I don't know what will.
my dad told me the truth a few years ago, but he swore me to secrecy. He only told my siblings recently.
I forget everything about the wording, but I remember he told me.
I thought, okay, this is just like a whole local thing. I have no concept beyond that.
How did you start in the business?
It's a little fuzzy about how it came about.
Yeah. We're gonna have to put ourselves back into those places that we were in.
Yeah.
You know, I'm giving you permission to put yourself in some of those moments.
But first, you want me to go through Dante's Inferno? Well, your Uncle Alan was in the pot and hash business.
So he rubbed off on you?
Oh, I'd say he had. I was in my early 20s and looking for work. And he came to me and said, "Would you like to make some extra coin?" He had me doing deliveries.
You start doing deliveries, then what?
Just bigger deliveries.
How much bigger?
Well, you know, I mean, how much bigger? I don't know how to answer that. I mean, it was just like supply and demand.
Well, listen, Dad, you're not standing on a street corner selling dime bags.
No. Moving different size weights of things and moving them to different customers.
I know this won't be easy. My dad has spent his whole life evading questions.
Okay, so let's just get back to how this stuff is coming into the country. It's coming in myriad different ways.
Yep.
What are those ways?
Well, the planes, trains, and automobiles. There's things
But
that
you're not going to tell me?
I mean, you know, just like watch the movies, you know, they
It's bugging me a little bit how you're coming at this.
What do you mean? Well, tell me what you...
You're moving product from A to B, you're filibustering, you're...
Not much more to it, I'm sorry.
Well, there is more to it.
My dad managed the distribution of thousands of pounds of marijuana and hashish.
Well, no, but, you know, I need you to talk about this stuff.
When Uncle Alan left the business, my dad expanded. He was importing product from Mexico, Nepal, Afghanistan. But as his operation expanded, so did the danger. In the 90s, marijuana and hashish were prosecuted like cocaine and heroin are now. Sentences could range from several years to life in prison. Watching his back 24/7 affected him.
He was paranoid. This particular night, your father was really freaking out. He felt like there was a threat. We dragged the mattress down the stairs into our living room because he just wanted to make sure that he could hear anybody breaking in.
I could feel the amount of tension at home. Like, what are we trying to keep out?
By the time I was old enough to understand some of what was going on, I was hearing whispers at family events.
This conversation is censored.
The secrecy started early in my parents' relationship. And one day, my dad just disappeared.
It was probably a few months into dating, and then I don't hear from him. He fell off the face of the earth.
Tell me about that.
That is a question you need to ask your father.
Can you tell me about the time that you disappeared?
No, absolutely not.
I decide not to push my dad on this. Instead, he offers to show me what a typical workday looked like.
You leave the house, you get up.
Yep.
What's your morning
If
routine?
I was doing a delivery, I'd go to the garage and I'd pick up what I needed.
Garage.
That's right.
My dad had 2 garages and another car we didn't know about.
Right there.
So that's a pretty big size.
Yeah. I come in early morning, I park, and I do my thing inside.
Then what?
Trains, planes, and automobiles.
Can you give me the sort of the quick play-by-play, the run-through?
It turns out, he can.
There's always somebody bringing in product from Pakistan, from Thailand, from Mexico. Somebody had a load come in. We figured, how are we going to get that back to Canada in 2 days? And so we ended up leasing a corporate jet.
Dad starts telling me what he did in detail. He wants me to know how good he was at his job.
They called me Swift Arrow. This guy's like, you know, just as fast as an arrow. I was playing a role, and I got good at it. In fact, people said to me, you look like an arc. I said, that's great. I said, it's working. A week or 2 weeks later, I'd get a call from somebody to meet me, and then they'd have a bundle of money. Then I'd go home and relax, you know? Dad's back, and all of a sudden, we're packing our bags to the islands. A lot of the people I worked with were married or had families and kids. Then we'd come back, and we'd pick up where we left off. Of course, there were stressful times, like the time that I ran into a store to get something Mom asked me to get. And I look, the car is on the back of a tow truck with about $350,000 of cash in it. That caused some stress, but I got it back.
I just want to know what risk it was to us, you know?
Yeah, well, I'm trying to tell you the risk. So everything that I'm telling you about how I operated my business kept everybody in the family safe. So I must have done a good job.
He might be bending certain things to make it seem less intense, or maybe he's even tricked himself into thinking things are less serious than they are.
Aside from my paranoia, you didn't know or see things that happened. I was just a little jumpy.
No, but you answered the door with weapons. Sometimes you'd reach for some blunt object.
Well, how often did that happen?
It felt like a feature of my childhood.
No.
I saw it happen.
What I'm saying is that some of the chaos that went on in my business, I never brought that home.
You don't think you brought it home.
No,
but
you don't
did.
know chaos until you've been in my business with the shit that went down. You have no idea.
The disappearance my mom talked about? My dad tells me he was kidnapped.
I was, you know, abducted by bikers.
He never told me that till we had been married.
Round about the time he started dating my mom, he traveled to upstate New York to pay an associate's debt. The bikers wanted more than he had on him, so they took him hostage.
For 3 days, I was chained up in a closet. I was expecting that to be the end of my life. They took me to a payphone, and I'm making phone calls to people I know. The last person said, "Yeah, sorry, buddy, but I can't help you." And as soon as I heard that and I realized this was the end, that there was no way I was going to get out of this, they probably were going to kill me, I just dropped the phone and ran. I didn't care what they were going to shoot me or whatever. I was just running. And then I heard the car. I got to get the hell off this road. I saw a hill. There's a house up there. I started banging on the door, screaming for somebody to let me in. And the bikers, they had pulled up the driveway. And I'm yelling, "They're gonna kill us, call the police, they're gonna kill us." Somebody gets out of the car and grabs me by the waist. And they're pulling me, and I'm hanging onto the frame. Then the owner of the house comes out with a poker from his fireplace. And he's hitting the biker, trying to get him off me. He's like trying to save me.
If you hadn't have gotten out of that situation, then we wouldn't be here.
That's correct.
My dad's kidnapping governed my parents' behavior for the next 40 years.
We were so diligent in watching over you kids. And see, we thought that we were sheltering the three of you, but you felt it.
As a parent, to think that that's what was happening, I thought, honestly, like, how dare you? If he was gonna get taken, how would the family survive? How would mom survive?
454 technically is a correct pound. They always bust you on a Thursday night or a Friday night.
Suddenly, I'm getting half a lifetime's worth of overdue parental advice.
If you're being tailed by somebody, then you're being tailed by a group of people.
Right. Except it's a crash course in smuggling. I think I've convinced my dad that making this movie will fix our family's problems. I may have convinced myself. But Elliot thinks our problems go way beyond Dad's secret.
The secret is not so much what I was concerned with. For me, it was more related to just my relationship with Dad. Right. Because I don't trust him emotionally.
Mel thinks Elliot's right. It's not about the secret. It's about something else.
It's so hard to crack this, like, armored layer that he has. And he does it for everybody externally out of the house, but unfortunately, he does it with his own kids.
Yeah, it's like he's made a really good version of himself. And so it's like, well, what is like the real person there?
It's not that Dad had secrets. It's about what keeping those secrets did to him.
I think it's normal to be angry, but the way it was externalized, it was just like explosive.
A lot of it was incredible shouting.
I had like a little blanket that I coveted. Dad was mad, took my blanket and ripped it to pieces in front of me. I can try, but I would be dishonest with myself if I thought I could like fully trust this person.
The temper that Dad carried, it was so big in the house. You didn't want to do anything that was going to push that to the next level. So Mom and Dad were out. I would go around and tidy. This was my way of feeling like I could control something.
Control the chaos.
That's right.
You got the brunt of it because you kind of push, the boundaries.
Do you think we got along?
We didn't get along during your teen years, but that was because you were acting out as a teenager.
You think it was because I was acting out?
Well, it wasn't my fault that you went all goth.
Dad, you were trying to kick me out since I was 13 years old.
He'd kick me out, and my mom would let me back in. Then at 22, I just didn't go back. I moved in with my indie rock band, and we hit the road. It wasn't stable, but I was free.
I do remember you coming back and saying thank you for that because it really helped me.
I know you don't want to go there.
What do you mean? Is that not true?
We were at each other a lot.
But is this about our relationship?
Did you ever ask Melanie and Elliot how they felt growing up in those circumstances?
Melanie's a really tough egg to crack. I can't talk to her about anything. Or she doesn't even hear me, you know? She doesn't even...
Don't you think that might have to do that she's got some feelings about it?
I don't know what else I could do.
If Dad really wants to truly repair his relationship, have the last chapter of his life to be the most authentic chapter, then he needs to stop pretending.
I suffer from cervical dystonia, the involuntary muscle contractions of my neck and tremoring. I have to have injections every 2 months so I can be free of the pain.
Turn a little bit to the right.
Okay. Trying.
I'm worried about you. A few years ago, you were in a really dark place.
Yep. My life is just running from different fears. It was hard just holding the secret. It was too difficult. I felt like I don't want to be here. If it were all over, I'd be out of all the challenges. I wouldn't have to face them anymore.
When my siblings and I realized what was happening, we got our mom help. She saw a doctor who recommended cognitive behavioral therapy. And slowly, she got back on her feet. My dad is a smart guy. He knew we were all having problems. He even knew where his problems came from. They didn't all come from dealing drugs.
My father was a straight arrow. Everybody liked him. I couldn't stand him. I hated him. He used to hit me. He humiliated me. If there was something you said he didn't like, that right hand went out and slap across the face. I was on pins and needles, always with him, what to say and not to say. I realized I could not handle school. Couldn't even, read assignments. I was picked on, I was beaten up. They called me Dirty Jew, and, they had all sorts of things to say. So I ran away to join the ballet.
If you can believe it, my dad's first passion was dance.
Like when they say somebody runs away to join the circus, that's what I did. Yeah, never looked back. I found a family that embraced me, that didn't judge me at all. Over time, I started transforming myself. It's the first time I was actually doing something where I was achieving a goal. The one big one that stood out was doing the Ed Sullivan Show. I was 15. It was really exciting. And then I ended up injuring myself. I could barely walk. I didn't want to accept it, right? I really needed to get it operated on, but I couldn't do it. I guess I was afraid. I wasn't dealing with the problem. I was running away from it. I knew that I can't do it, that I can't dance. And I left. Yeah, it was a kick to my ego, my soul, really, because I loved dance. That was my whole life. My career ended after only 7 years. And then Alan popped into my life. He made me an offer I couldn't refuse.
Why didn't you stop, take the safer route?
And that's all I knew how to do. And at the same time, I also believed in it. So I was kind of like a minor crusader at the time. I thought it should be legal and it shouldn't be anybody else's business.
I don't agree with it. Now it's spoken of as being legal, but that's now, that's today, that's present day. There's such a sense of pride that he carries about what he did, a dismissal of how this has affected the entire family.
He was always caught in this quagmire of having to support a family. He never had confidence in himself to do something else.
7-point cannabis.
It's kind of a classy looking joint.
Yeah, very.
My dad quit the business years before legalization.
Eventually, your dad wanted out.
The bad elements started moving in, the bikers, the mafia. Man, I don't want to be in this business anymore.
When my dad opens up about his past, I can empathize with him. I can identify. And I'm not alone.
I'm very hard on myself when that temper comes out. And unfortunately, it happens with, partners that I've been with. Yeah, that's a side of me that I really don't like.
Mm-hmm. I don't have it at all. And I also feel horrible about it, and I'm trying really hard.
Same.
Both my sister and I have carried our tempers into our adult lives. We want to be better. There's a strange comfort in saying it all out loud. And I wonder why we haven't all sat down to talk. What I was saying before about Melanie and Elliot, we haven't sat down.
That's right.
And talked about this as a family.
I know that.
At all.
No.
The two of them are so hard to get through to.
I just think if you open the door to them and just say, I want to talk, want to hear from you, I want to know what you think, and I want to just listen, and I think that would be really powerful.
Yeah, I think it would be good.
But we weren't good. After a crew member misplaces my dad's car keys, my dad loses his temper and quits the film. Oh, it's him. Hello.
What I said.
What didn't I understand about what?
Where the fuck are the keys?
They're on their way right now, Dad. He hung up.
But he becomes so irrational when he gets angry. This I haven't seen in a long time.
I feel the same way. I feel the same like when I was a little kid, like it just doesn't change. I hate when he's like this. I don't trust him. I don't trust him. I'm not sure I want this anymore.
You're never going to feel the closeness that you think you have with your children. And if you want to take them to your grave, be my guest buddy.
Now I feel foolish because Dad will never change.
But Michael, there's nothing you can do about it.
I actually think if Mom wasn't around, he probably would never call us.
You wouldn't.
This is always the risk with my father. If you push him too hard, he walks away. It's like disappearing is how he survives. He's done it with Damien, my older half-brother from my father's first marriage.
Merry Christmas, guys.
They have a very complicated relationship.
My father supported Damien financially, though they've sometimes been estranged. When I was a kid, I asked him what you did.
And what did he say?
I don't know what Dad does.
Right, so he still doesn't.
And why haven't you told him yet, though?
I don't consider him part of this family.
But he is your son, and surely...
Yeah, but he wasn't part of my life. He was a distant relative, really. It's not the same dynamics, and I certainly wouldn't have told him before I told you guys.
Would you consider telling him now?
I have no reason to tell him outright.
I can relate to Damien. My dad blows up, and then it's like it never happened. It's his pattern.
Were you expecting something to come out of this? What were you thinking?
I was hoping to like come out of it feeling closer.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was happening, and then we had that blow up.
Yeah. That blow up just had, all that had to do with just me panicking on you losing control. And I'm sorry I took it out on you, but it was really me I was angry at.
It reminded me of like old dad. It scared me.
That won't happen again. Trust me.
Listen, I want to have a relationship with you.
Yeah, I know, I do too.
Because you and Zadie didn't really get along very well.
That's what also hurts is when I behave the way I do with you. He did shit like that as well.
Is there a way that you can see him as just a person that's flawed like me, like you, in that way, that maybe he also didn't like himself when he behaved like that?
Yeah. He talked one day, I think he was saying to me, he said, I'd like to know what it is you do.
Your dad?
Yeah, like, is there something I could do? He drove product across the border for me. The best profile is like a senior citizen. He'd never done anything dishonest in his whole life. But his reasoning was he wanted to spend some time with me.
Your dad literally became a drug mule. He went to those lengths to connect with you.
Yeah. And you're doing this to connect with me. All right, I get that. Yeah.
My dad decides to give me back the footage.
Okay. There you go.
While he's still alive.
Don't lose him.
My siblings agree to talk to my dad, but only if he's the one who asks them to.
Am I going first?
He does.
Hi.
Come on in. Mom, do you want to sit over there? Dad, you can sit here. I guess I'll start with, how are you guys feeling?
Nervous. You know, I really don't know how it affected the three of you. I want to hear that.
I do have a question. Were you in it before you met Mom?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was around a month and a half after we had been dating.
I sat her down and I told her what I did, thinking, well, that would be the end of that. Maybe that was your big mistake.
You never thought at some point my kids are probably going to want to know, hey, what did you do for work all these years?
Well, why didn't you ever ask me?
We did.
We did.
Did you?
Yeah.
No, I don't even remember you guys ever coming and confronting me and saying,
Well, you don't remember a lot of things, Dad, but that happened. Like, that's the honest truth. It happened. Yeah. The fact that we even had to ask that question is not common, right?
It wasn't a lie to me. It was just protection, you know, making a bubble around the family where there was no risk of that outside world getting in there and affecting you guys.
I was so hung up over what you did that I didn't want to talk to you about anything.
Yeah, I got that vibe.
We got that.
I was angry that that was a path that you chose, knowing it could have the potential of putting your whole family in jeopardy.
Believe it or not, I believed in it. I believed the fact that it was illegal was wrong. Lo and behold, the country legalized it. They caught up to my thinking.
I can intellectually understand that, but I feel like you're downplaying the risks.
I went to great lengths to secure our life. Otherwise, you would have felt the bumps of things happening along like that.
We did feel the bumps.
No, but nothing specific. Nobody kicked open the door, you know.
But we had nightmares that people were going to kick open the door.
I understand, but nothing over that whole period of time actually materialized.
I spent a lot of time like overhearing you guys getting in like these incredible rows.
Yeah, I don't know that I felt safe, like emotionally, because you do understand that the environment that you create at home impact your children and the people that live with you.
Very often, like we were walking around on eggshells.
We were your release. So when you got home, like you took it out on us.
You know, I was on fight or flight kind of mode.
The consequences, though, were that, you know, if you got busted, we might have
well, listen,
no dad.
People get busted all the time and they still end up getting out of jail.
Do you think that would have not impacted us?
Yes.
Like we would have been like, oh, our dad went to jail. Oh, okay.
Yes,
Mom doesn't work.
I would have gotten out.
You have no control over that.
Elliot?
When you guys would have arguments, like I wish there was something I could have done.
There was nothing you needed to do. That wasn't your responsibility.
I'm sorry.
You okay, Elliot?
Okay. I'm sorry for if it is, you know, it's all I have right now is a sorry. And
I did it with Mike like a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I feel terrible about it. Yeah.
You know, when I look at Dad when he's like that, and I feel like I'm looking in the mirror.
You got that from me, unfortunately.
And you saw your dad do that.
I saw my dad do that. Until it stops, it keeps going.
Yeah.
Right? Until we stop it here.
Yeah.
I trust that you love me. I'm still gonna take time to work towards trusting you more.
Yeah.
But I accept your apology.
Thank you.
You don't have to put on any front anymore, right? And I think that's going to take some time and work for you to understand what that is.
Yeah, it
Because
will.
I'm not really sure that you even know who the real Eric is anymore because of how many different
Faces I
faces
wore,
you had
yeah,
to wear.
yeah.
That was the past.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you don't do this anymore.
No.
Okay, let's just clarify that.
I know people don't change overnight. It takes time and courage.
Yeah, I know that. I hope you don't have any other daughters. That would be a real shock.
Would it?
But yeah.
I do.
What?
Don't want me to lie anymore, do you?
Wow.
My dad's not kidding. He's never met his other daughter, but she'd be in her 50s by now. I guess if you ask for the truth, you have to be open to receiving it.
Oh my God. Oh.
At least now we have a chance to understand it.
I guess I feel like less burdened about the situation. There's not like something in the back of my mind that I'm like holding on to.
Telling each other the truth has changed something for us.
It gave you and your siblings some kind of peace.
But what do you get personally for you? That's not about what your kids get.
It's a weight off of my shoulders. Yeah.
For what they did to be able to raise 3 kids that have all grown up into adults and are having families of their own, that's, you know, pretty remarkable. So out of all of this, like, craziness, we're not that screwed up.
Now, I'm not sure I'm gonna show up at premiere night.
Why not? You afraid?
Yeah, no, I'm not afraid anymore. No.
What kind of father will I be? I just hope I get to find out.
Start with your name.